This is my first interview, and you can tell it's my first interview. I'm not great at asking questions, but fortunately for me, I had two wonderful people to give for my first interview. So let's get started with interview number one for the Oddfellow Manor, and I'm going to be sly with this. I'm going to give you a transition music. Minor key. And there we go. We're getting started.
Okay. Do we have to hit okay on our side?
Did it give you a prompt to say that it's okay that you're recorded?
Yes, it did.
There you go.
Okay. We did it.
Excellent. Well, it's very nice to meet you. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Diane Dwyer, one of the granddaughters.
And Jenny Long,
Miss
granddaughter.
Jenny. Well, just so I can give you my introduction, because I've already sent the email and we've had some back and forth. But my name is Garrett Butler. I am a family practitioner here in Elkins, West Virginia. I also practice in Philippi. And last summer, I threw a bid in on a property, and it turns out that you guys have some history there.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you guys want to give a little bit of the history of the start of your memories, when was the first time you guys actually went over there?
Oh,
Well, I was probably in between 8 and I would say 12 years old are the memories that I still have.
Okay.
You know, and we would drive over there for weekends sometimes, but sometimes I would spend a week or something like that over there with my grandma. And what I remember is, well, how big the house was and how wonderful the porch was, because it always had a lot of rocking chairs on it and things like that.
Yep.
And there was a dorm where the girls would sleep.
Okay.
And then there was a dorm someplace else in the building where the boys would sleep when they had children there.
Okay.
And it was super big. And what I remember is they never had that many children there at one time.
Okay.
As far as I can remember, but they had many children there off and on. And and I remember the kitchen and how big the freezer, and as a child it was huge refrigerator, and they had the way they had to cook things in these giant skillets or ovens or whatever. As a child they looked huge to me.
Yeah, the mixer sat on the floor. I remember making mashed potatoes. I mean, it was a whole 50-pound of potatoes at one time. It looked like.
Was that the mixer that was kind of in the middle, that was on the other side of the dining hall, not back in the kitchen?
I remember it just being in the kitchen.
I remember the kitchen, yeah.
But I that could be a little foggy for me.
So the way the layout goes right now is you have a kitchen that's completely in the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
A really big dining hall. And then
yes.
you have a hallway that comes up from the dining hall that goes into what was considered the chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And then right there, where in between the chapel and the dining hall, there's actually a big room with a baker's oven in it. And then a stand-up mixer that's in there. And I mean, that stand-up mixer can easily hold 10 to 15 gallons.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, but I don't remember it being out in the hallway, but it could have been, and I just don't remember.
Yeah, I just remember it being in the kitchen.
Okay. And maybe
they had a big dishwasher too in there.
Okay. Yeah, definitely don't have any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would fill the trays with the dirty dishes and then shove it through the dishwasher, and would come out the other side. It was rinsed in. We'd put them dry and put them away.
Yeah, the conveyor belt style.
Yes, yeah, conveyor stuff.
Yeah. And the dining room, like you said, was huge, and they had these real long tables.
Okay.
And you would have 3 meals there every day. And I remember they had huge meals. In the breakfast they had the cereal boxes in the middle, but you could get eggs and bacon and biscuits and stuff like that. I remember the breakfast really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they always had jelly out on the table, things like that. And they rang the dinner bell.
Okay.
It would be somebody's responsibility. I don't know how they did that, but when we were there, I loved doing that.
Yeah.
Going through the hallways and telling everybody it was time for dinner.
So it was a handheld bell that you kind of went through the hallways ringing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they had somebody playing taps when we would get up
Okay.
and go to bed at nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. We come down the back steps into the kitchen when we would come down to help prepare for breakfast. Use the back stairwell.
Okay. So when you stayed there, when you stayed in the dormitory, was the dormitory towards the front of the building, where the flagpole and the main offices were, or was it towards the back of the building that's more over the dining hall and the kitchen?
Yeah, I think it was more toward the back.
I think so too.
Yeah, more toward the back. Grandma's office was directly above the front door.
Okay.
Her suite where she was, her office was right inside the front door to the left, and then her apartment was right directly above that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very big stairway up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And our
So
mom
big
and dad,
there.
mom and dad had their own room when they would take us up and spend the time there. And it was on the second floor, I believe, off to the left down in one of those hallways.
Okay.
So they had their own area. And then we had an Aunt May who lived there as well. She was on the second floor, and she was, I believe she was wheelchair bound.
Okay. And so
And if there's,
they had the wheel, or they had the elevator operational at that time?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would ring a bell, and then we would have to go and assist the people who were coming down to the meals with their wheelchairs or whatever. We would go and help get them down to the dining room.
Excellent.
But this was all fun for us, and
Yeah.
and I don't know how the kids felt that lived there when they had, they all had duties that they had to do. But we thought it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun and games for us. even going and helping in the garden. That's okay. We can go and dig potatoes or whatever, and hang out.
Yeah, they had a big farm, and didn't they have milk cows?
They had milk cows. They had dairy cows. Yeah, I don't know if they had chickens. I don't remember. They probably did.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
I don't remember the eggs, but I know we had to. We worked on the farm, and Saturday nights we would take some of the animals to a farm auction down the road.
Okay.
And hang out down there while they would auction off different animals or maybe buy more for the home.
I think that's actually the property that's down one lane from us, and somebody else has already purchased that property. But you can see where the stables and everything were, where they did that auctioning. That a lot of the groundwork and the layout of their property is still there. They built their own building on top of it, but it looks like some of it's still there for where they have the stables.
Do they still have the gazebo?
Yep, the gazebo is still standing.
And that there was a great big playground right to the front or to the side of the gazebo, and that was a great thing in our time too. Was the big swings and all that.
Yeah, all the swings are gone now, of course.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I remember I got a very big scar on my knee from that swing.
Well, excellent. Do you remember? So I think when you're talking about the chickens, from the layout that I can gather from walking around the property, it looks like there's the foundation of what looks to be almost like a chicken shed right next to the garage. Do you remember the big 3-car garage in the back?
I remember vaguely the garage in the back because you would come past and drive past the front of the house, and I think that's where my dad parked his car.
Okay.
I believe it was parked back in the back. But I don't remember the chicken things. So I thought the animals things were all across on the other side of the street.
The big barn and everything, and the corn crib is over there. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that being across the street. And then I remember on Saturdays we would help with the laundry.
Okay.
And they would have the huge washing machines downstairs, and they have the huge mangles where a couple of people would have to sit on the bench to run the sheets through.
Okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us do it if we were too young because you had to be a certain age so you didn't burn your arm off.
or get your hand caught in it.
Exactly. Yeah, but that was always a lot of fun to run those.
They still actually have some of that old machinery downstairs.
Do they really?
Yeah, they do.
Do you have to get rid of all that, or are you?
I mean, a fair portion of it's not operational any longer, and it's actually like the old mangles and the old presses. Like they've got the big old long wheel presses that you could technically press full table sheets with.
Yes. Yeah.
They have 3 or 4 of those down there. I don't think they're operational at all, and they're rusty like crazy. So I don't think they do the job, but we still have them.
What about the big the stairway? Like I remember the wood on it.
Mm-hmm.
that would go from the front door. I think there were steps right there inside the front door.
Mhm.
Is that wood still nice, or does that have to be?
Well, they've kept it up really well, but what they did do is I think the wood started to break down a little bit. So what they did do is they made a center lane of carpet, and they carpeted up that whole length of stairs.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
So the wood is still there, and the sides still look good. But I anticipate that once we take the carpet up, it's probably heavily worn.
Oh,
Is it-
yeah,
Even if you remember in the front part of the home as well, there's the two side stairwells that are towards the residential areas.
yeah.
Those two side stairwells, all of that wood is still fully intact,
Wow.
stays very well upkept. But the one thing is, if you see pictures of it, you can actually see the levels of the stairs. They're
Yeah,
all leaning
they're tilted.
where people have
Wow.
walked for 100 years.
Yeah. So how old is that building?
Technically, it was started in 1908. It was finished in 1910. But we have discovered some other information about it, and it actually turns out that the building was built in two separate portions. That the
Huh?
front half of the building was actually built in 1908 to 1910, and then the building was finished in the late 20s, early 30s, with the back half of the building with the dining hall and the kitchen.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I guess we were up there in the 50s, huh?
Mhm.
Probably.
Yeah, the 50s.
Yeah. 50s, maybe
Yeah.
early 60s. I don't know.
Do they still have the infirmary?
they do not.
How about
Where
the
was the
barber shop, beauty shop?
The beauty shop is still at the top of the stairs on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still have the mirrors. I still have the barber chairs. We've got two barber chairs.
That is so cool.
So now Diane's more on top of this than I am. What exactly are you going to do with this building now? Restore?
Yeah, so yeah, primarily the first focus is to restore it. I'm in the process right now of working with another lady to do full historic status because I'd like to make it a historic property.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
especially to retain as much of the history as possible.
Yeah.
And also, the Oddfellows still own some of the other property around it, like the farm grounds and such. So I'm going to do my best to purchase the orchard and purchase some of the farm grounds because the long-term goal is after completely renovating the property is to actually reopen as more of an assisted living. So not quite the nursing home setting, but kind of that place where
In between?
yeah, you could technically stay at home, but it'd be really nice if you were in a facility that had access to somebody to help you out, but you don't need 24/7, 100% care.
Yeah, yeah.
And but
Well,
also grow a lot of our own food, have our own animals, and try and keep everything on site.
maybe we could get a discount and come and live there.
Absolutely, if you'd like to. We will call this a verbal contract, if you will.
And it's recorded.
Absolutely. Yep. But it is, I know that from my standpoint, yeah, I am just a family doc. I don't have any big supporters just yet. So a lot of what we're doing right now is just, I scratch up enough money to pay for something and I take care of it.
I think it's awesome that you're doing that because it's just such a beautiful building. I hated to see it be torn down or, just left to vanish, just to rot away.
Absolutely. I think that's why the Oddfellows were kind of excited when I actually put my bid in on the property.
Yeah.
They asked me what I wanted to do and I told them and they were super excited.
Yeah.
Now, when you put your bid in, had they had the auction yet on the contents or was that? Yeah, that's when I found out about it, was when they said we were having the auction, and I missed the auction by a couple of months. That's why I was wondering about Grandma's picture and some of our Aunt May that had a beautiful bookcase, a lawyer's type bookcase in her room, crammed full of all kind of antique dolls and all kinds of items and things in there that she had.
That might have actually gone with the first auction because there were actually two auctions before I got the property. So I think the first time it went to auction might have been about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And at that time, what they did was they did a full walkthrough auction of the entire inside of the facility. And what they did was they did it as lots and they just had a tag on the door and you bid on the room. That's what a lot of people did. So a lot of the really good furniture was already purchased and was already taken out of the building.
Yeah. It probably went with the first auction then.
Yep. Yeah, the second auction kind of went through the rest of it, and then now they just kind of
what was left over. Okay, that's really cool. So, do you have a target date on anything, or just doing what you can when you can?
Doing what I can when I can. My initial goal was probably about 5 to 10 years. But after talking to some of the people that do work like this, they said it might be better to stretch my goals out to more like 15 to 20.
Okay.
So this might be a healthy amount of time. Now, granted, if I end up having a really big sponsor or donor or somebody who steps forward to help out, and we can get the ball rolling on a lot more things sooner,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. To get the word out faster. Yeah, that would be really cool, though.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're doing this.
Me too.
Yeah.
We've been back there a couple of times, you know, just to look at the building. And actually, one time it was still open when I was there, and they let us come in the front door. And I talked to, I can't remember who, but at that time they had all the pictures still up alongside the front wall, you know, of the different superintendents or whatever, you know.
Yeah, they've taken a lot of pictures down.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
They wanted to keep some of that history themselves.
Yeah.
It looked like part of the porch too had been blocked off, the front porch. When they show pictures I've seen online, it looks like the front door, they're not showing that. They're showing the to the front door to the left. Is there wiring and stuff around there like it's blocked off?
Shouldn't be.
For repair?
Yeah, no, now it's all fully, it's fully open. That whole porch is open.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've taken pictures of both sides because there's the two side entrance doors on the front, but then the main big front door that you walk in, that your grandmother's office is to the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long did she work there for?
How long did Grandma work there? I honestly couldn't say. I would think 5 years at least, maybe even.
Maybe even longer than that, because she came to Smithfield, I think, in '60, and I think she had left the home then.
Yeah, I could probably figure it out, but I can't think off the top of my head because I was like 11 and 12 when I was born there. Didn't really think about things like that.
Now, when she retired from there, did she end up staying on, or did she go somewhere else?
No, I think when she retired, she came to live with her daughter.
Okay.
Our mother in Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we haven't been down that area for so long.
Oh, I bet. Well, you guys were going to be coming down for the Forest Festival last year, right?
Well, we were just going to come down just for a road tour, you know, to come through Mannington where we used to live.
Yep.
And just see some of our old haunting grounds and go and then just take a drive up through there just to see the home and see what it looked like, and just, you know, a little road trip.
Of course. Well, if you guys ever end up back down here, all you have to do is send me a message, let me know.
Okay.
Thank you. That would be great.
Go down memory lane.
Absolutely. I mean, the building's changed a little bit over the years, but a lot of it is kept its character.
Yeah.
Were there any surprises or anything that that was kind of intrigued you when you went exploring through the home?
Well, I got lost a couple of times. I remember that as a kid. I don't think that I can remember anything that was earth-shattering or anything like that.
Well, there was a library across from Grandma's office.
Okay.
And had a fireplace in there.
Okay.
And that's where I had my first boyfriend. And he was allowed to come to the home, but only for a certain amount of time, and then he had to leave.
Yep.
Didn't last very long, too far away.
Well, I know they moved the library up to the second floor.
Oh, okay.
And so the library is up, actually the room across the hallway from the barbershop.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
I do remember too them having a bus, or maybe it was just a car or something, that when they the kids that live there were the older people.
Okay.
They go into town and take them there, and movie theaters or whatever, things like that. I remember that.
Oh yeah, we go into movie theaters once in a while. Yeah, and then get ice cream.
Oh yeah. So when you went downtown Elkins, how often did you guys go downtown Elkins?
It was just for like a day trip.
Okay.
Something like that, you know.
Just occasional.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe they were going. Maybe they were doing personal shoppings and stuff like that. I don't remember. I just knew it was
once in a while we got to go.
A little trip.
Was the mini golf course still open downtown?
I don't remember that.
I couldn't say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen pictures of downtown Elkins, and the pictures from downtown Elkins showed the old theater downtown, the old hotel, the Tiger.
Mhm. You know what? I remember getting a postcard, and I might still have that of the home itself on a postcard.
Yep.
And if I could get that, if I could find that in all my stuff, I would let you have that.
Yeah, we have a stack of the postcards, I think from the 80s or 90s.
Oh, okay.
We have some.
Now, ours would be probably older than that.
Yeah.
The one that I have would be older than that.
That would be excellent.
Yeah. I know I had one at one time, so I'll see if I can find it.
It's somewhere.
Huh?
Well, what I'll make sure to do though too is, like I said, we do have some stacks of old photographs, and some of them bigger, some of them smaller, and we can dig through and we can see if we can find anything with pictures, and see if any of them ring a bell for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that would be great. That might jog our memories a little bit.
Absolutely.
So,
Do you guys have any requests for what I'll be doing? Because I'm all ears here. I'm all kinds of ideas I like to take.
Yeah.
yeah. I wouldn't have an idea.
Not right now. No, I'm just so glad you're doing something. I'm not just letting it deteriorate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was the Oddfellows Manor. Is that what you called it? It's on YouTube.
Yes, I'm calling it the Oddfellows Manor. It'll be on YouTube. This video here will be on YouTube as well, so you guys will be out there for the whole world to see.
Oh no! I should have fixed my hair.
You look wonderful. You're fine. All 263 followers that I have.
Okay.
Well, now that I'm going to be on there, I'm going to take everybody I know, so they'll take.
Awesome. It'll be wonderful, and hopefully they have some ideas or some input as well. Because I mean, I think the bigger approach for me is if I involve the community with this, and with the idea generation and some of the education and spreading the history and these stories. And especially, after this, you guys are going to think of stuff, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I completely forgot to tell them about this story." We can add.
Did you find any children that had lived there?
I've contacted a couple of families, and what I do have is I will actually be doing another one of these with a gentleman whose father was one of the children there.
Oh yeah.
And so he
that would be really nice if you could get somebody like that, huh? Because he can probably remember a lot more.
Yeah, because the other thing that's come out, because I've had a couple of smaller conversations, not full-length conversations on this. I guess that over the years, what they had done was in the summer, they had done what was called an ox roast. Were you guys ever part of that?
An ox roast?
Yeah, they called it an ox roast. And what they did was a lot of the orphans that were there in the house ended up considering the people who were there in the home as their family. Not their actual families or the ones that they came from. And so every summer they would do an ox roast where they would dig pits out in the yard and put coals down in the pits, and they would roast ox and pigs and everything else. And they would bring back, and they would do a family reunion for all of the children who'd lived there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And
do you happen to know how many children have lived there in the past?
I don't know how many total over the years. I know that from the statistics that I saw, the most children that it had at one time was like 119 or 120.
Really?
Wow.
So
I had no idea about that.
It had been very robust. A lot of kids.
Yeah.
When it first started, that's how many they had.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember that many at all when we were going there. I only remember maybe a dozen or.
Yeah, it wasn't. Because I remember the rooms having so many beds.
Yeah.
Big rooms, and their beds were never full or anything.
Yeah.
When we stayed there.
I think also in the 50s and 60s is when it started to do a little bit of transition, because that's when we started having a lot more programs to help out with. So there were a lot more foster homes and fostering programs, so there wasn't a need for orphanages. So that's when we started doing the transition more toward elder care and having some of the older population there.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense. That I never thought about it.
Yeah, so maybe what you guys were seeing was part of that transition time frame.
Yeah, could have been.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Well, this has been very interesting. I've enjoyed this very much.
Absolutely. It's been a blast. I'm glad that you guys could do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll keep in touch so we can see the progress.
Well, yeah, we'll keep this. We'll keep the page, and I'll keep in touch by email. Send you anything that I find there. And if you guys come up, like I said, with any other stories or anything else that you'd like to share, or heck, I mean, maybe even through this, somebody might reach out and contact you guys and let you know.
Yeah, that's true.
They had experience there.
Yeah. Very okay. Sounds good.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being part of this evening.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you and talking with you.
Of course. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Transition back. End of the interview. This is me just being goofy, starting and finishing a video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope to gather more stories, more histories, more cats waking up on the couch and licking their butts. Have a great night, guys. Thank you.